It started with a sound. Not loud, not clear, just soft, like a tiny squeak, mixed with water and wind. Jamie paused on the gravel path, just beside the river, where fog sat heavy on the surface like a blanket no one asked for. He tilted his head. There it was again. A faint cry, almost like a baby's whimper, but smaller, softer, desperate. Jamie stepped closer to the riverbank, and that's when he saw it. A cardboard box drifting slow and crooked in the current. It bumped lightly into a fallen branch, turned slightly, and moved again. It shouldn't have. Boxes don't move like that on their own. The cry came again, this time clear. Jamie dropped his bike and ran. His shoes splashed into the cold mud as he reached into the water. His hands grabbed the soggy edges of the box and pulled. It was heavier than he expected, waterlogged, sealed with tape, and moving. Jamie ripped it open with shaky fingers. And there, at the bottom, curled and soaked, was a kitten, barely alive, soaked to the bone, shivering. He didn't even think. Jamie scooped her into his arms, pulling off his hoodie and wrapping her up. Her tiny eyes were shut tight, her breaths shallow, her body limp. He could feel her heart fluttering like a dying bird. "Oh no, 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 no," Jamie whispered, holding her close. He looked around. No one was there, just him, the fog, and the kitten who had no name. He ran, past the trees, through the backyards, into his own house, straight to the laundry room where it was warm. He didn't call for anyone, not his grandpa, not his uncle, no one, just him. He grabbed an old towel, started drying her, turned on the space heater, held her closer. Minutes passed. She didn't move. Then, the smallest sound, a cough, a breath. Her paw twitched. Jamie sat down and whispered, "You're okay now. I got you." Her eyes opened, just for a second, pale blue, scared, but alive. That's when Jamie noticed the tape marks around her legs, her mouth. Someone had taped her shut. Someone did this. He clenched his jaw. Who would do that to a baby? He muttered. She let out a soft meow, like a weak thank you. That broke him. Right there, he remembered feeling small once, after his mom left. When, he didn't understand why. When no one gave him answers, just silence. He used to cry in the same laundry room with the door closed. He knew that feeling, of being tossed away. "You're not trash," he told her. "You're mine now." He named her Misty, because of the fog, because of the way she looked. Pale, soft, and nearly gone. The first night she barely moved. Jamie stayed up feeding, her drops of warm milk with a spoon. Every time her tiny eyes blinked, he'd whisper, "Good girl. Just hold on." The next morning, her head lifted on its own. By day 3, she tried to walk, wobbly and slow, like her legs forgot what they were made for. Jamie smiled for the first time in weeks, but the question never left him. Who put her in that box? And why? One evening, Jamie sat on the back steps, Misty asleep on his lap. That's when he noticed something. A man, across the river. Old, leaning on a cane, just standing there, watching. Jamie squinted. The man turned and walked away. A chill crept up Jamie's spine. The fog was back, thicker this time. He picked up Misty and held her close. "Who was that?" he whispered. The kitten stirred but didn't wake. Whatever had happened to her, it wasn't an accident. Someone had tried to erase her. But now, she had a name. She had a heartbeat. She had a boy who saw her, and she had a chance. She wasn't just a kitten in a box anymore. She was Misty, and she had survived. Misty was healing, slowly. Her ribs still showed, and sometimes she'd shake in her sleep. But she was eating now, even trying to play with Jamie's shoelaces. He kept her hidden in the old tool shed behind the house. Blankets, milk, and a tiny basket made her feel safe. His grandfather couldn't know. The man had rules. No pets, no noise, no mess. Jamie had broken all three. Every day after school, Jamie would sneak food from the kitchen and hurry to Misty. She'd perk up when she heard his voice, that soft meow growing stronger. But something strange was happening around the village. People were talking. Jamie overheard two old women at the store. "One of them stray devils washed up again," one said. "Second time this year," the other replied. "They never learn. Should have drowned the whole litter." Jamie froze. His hands tightened around the milk bottle. They weren't just talking. They knew. Someone had done this before. Later at the bakery, the owner said something as Jamie left. "Careful near the river, boy. That place swallows things." He didn't turn back. He just walked faster. Back in the shed, Misty nuzzled into his hoodie like she knew his heart was racing. That night, Jamie sat with her under a single lamp. "Did they do it to others too?" he whispered. "Were you the only one that made it?" Misty blinked slowly. Her paw rested on his leg. Then, it happened. Sometime past midnight, Jamie woke to a sound. Scratching. Fast. Panicked. He grabbed a flashlight and ran outside. Misty was slamming herself against the shed wall, her eyes wide, breathing fast. She let out a scream. Not a meow, a scream. Jamie dropped to his knees. "Misty, stop! It's okay!" She didn't hear him. She kept clawing at the wall, her body trembling. Jamie wrapped his arms around her, holding her tight. "Shh, I'm here," he whispered. "You're safe." Her body slowly stopped shaking, but her eyes stayed open, like she was still trapped somewhere else. That's when he knew. Whatever happened in that box, it didn't leave her. The next morning, Jamie didn't go to school. He stayed with Misty. She wouldn't eat, wouldn't move. He sat on the floor, watching the door, and he thought about the man by the river. What if he knew something? What if he saw who did it? Jamie asked around after lunch. Just casual. Nothing serious. "Hey, Mr. Grant," he said to the old postman. "The guy who walks with a cane? Kinda tall?" Mr. Grant looked at him strange. "You mean Mr. Halver? Lives near the watermill. Why?" Jamie shook his head. "Just saw him the other day." The man frowned. "Best stay away from him, son. He's not right. Been that way since the fire." "What fire?" Jamie asked. But the postman was already walking away. Back at the house, Jamie stared out the window, his thoughts spinning. He wanted to know, needed to know, but something in him was afraid of the answer. That night, Misty finally ate again. "Just a little," Jamie whispered. "You're stronger than they thought." "You made it." She blinked at him, then looked away. She didn't believe it yet. But he did, and he promised. Right then, he'd find out the truth, even if it meant facing the shadows hiding in their quiet village, even if it meant facing Mr. Halver. Because whatever haunted Misty didn't belong to her. Someone gave it to her, and Jamie was going to find out who. Jamie didn't wait anymore. The nightmares, the screams, Misty slamming herself against the shed wall. It was enough. He had to know. He skipped school the next morning and biked to the old part of the village, past the closed-down mill, past the crooked fences. He found the house, lonely, quiet, faded paint peeling from the walls. The wind pushed dry leaves across the porch. Jamie knocked once. No answer. He knocked again. The door creaked open. There he was, the man with the cane, gray coat, thick eyebrows, sharp eyes that didn't blink. "What do you want?" The man growled. Jamie hesitated, then spoke. "You were by the river, the morning the box floated by." The man said nothing, just stared. Jamie stepped forward. There was a kitten inside. Someone taped her shut. She almost died. Still no answer. Jamie's voice rose. "Did you do it?" The man didn't flinch. "I've thrown away worse." Jamie's heart pounded. "Why? She was just a baby." The man's face twisted. Not angry, not sad, something else. She looked like her. he muttered. Jamie blinked. Who? The old man pointed to the burned frame of a photo on his wall. My wife, Sarah. His voice cracked. She loved cats. Kept one in the house. Wouldn't let it outside. Said it was special. Like a child. Jamie listened, frozen. One night it knocked over a lantern. We were asleep upstairs. The fire spread fast. Smoke filled the rooms. I got out. She didn't. The man looked Jamie in the eyes. That cat made me a widower. Jamie shook his head. That wasn't Misty's fault. They're all the same, the man said. Curse things. Soft, silent, sneaky. I've seen them turn good people into fools. Jamie clenched his fists. She saved me, he said. She trusts me, even after what you did. The man turned away. You should leave. But Jamie wasn't done. She has nightmares, flinches when I touch her. Do you even care? The old man said nothing. Just limped back into the shadows of the house and shut the door. Jamie stood there, heart pounding. The truth was worse than he expected, and it wasn't just the old man. The village knew. They had let it happen. Again and again. Jamie biked home in silence. The clouds were building, heavy and dark. That night, the storm hit. Rain slammed against the roof. Thunder rolled over the fields. Jamie ran to the shed. Misty? No answer. He opened the door. Empty. His chest dropped. Her blanket was soaked. The window cracked open. Wind howling through the hole. He ran outside, yelling her name. Misty. The wind swallowed his voice. He searched the fields. The woods. Even the edge of the river. No paw prints, no sound, nothing. He ran to the road, knocked on every door. Have you seen a kitten? Gray, small, blue eyes? No one had. She's just scared. He kept telling himself, she'll come back. But deep down, fear was crawling in. What if she was running back to the river? What if she remembered the box? What if she thought that's where she belonged? Jamie fell to his knees near the fence and sobbed. She didn't deserve this, he whispered. She trusted me. And just like that, the bond they built felt shattered, but he wasn't giving up. Not on her. Not now. Somewhere out there, Misty was alone again, and Jamie made a silent promise in the rain. I'll find you, I swear. Jamie didn't sleep. He waited all night, hoping to hear that soft meow or the tiny thud of Misty's paws at the door, but nothing came. At sunrise, he took his bike and searched again. Down the roads, behind sheds, near the school. No sign. Something told him to check the old church. He hadn't been there in years. It was abandoned now, just an empty shell with cracked steps and vines crawling up the walls. But something pulled him there. Jamie dropped his bike and walked quietly toward the bell tower. The morning air was cold and sharp. His breath came out in quick bursts. And then, a sound, faint. A tiny cry. He ran. Inside the broken church, under the bell tower, curled beneath a pile of leaves and ash, was Misty. She was shaking. One paw was bleeding. Her fur was matted and wet, but her eyes opened when she saw him. Misty. Jamie rushed over, falling to his knees. You're okay? You're okay. She let out the softest meow, like she was trying to say sorry. I thought I lost you, he whispered, cradling her in his arms. Then he noticed it. Right beside her paw. A small silver bell, old, rusted, scratched. He picked it up. It had a worn leather strap tied to it, like it once belonged to a collar. Jamie stared at it. He knew what it was. The bell from the story. The cat the old man hated. The one that knocked over the lantern. Jamie looked at Misty. Did you follow the scent here? Or did you remember? She closed her eyes, resting her face against his chest. He carried her home with the bell in his pocket. He cleaned her wounds, wrapped her paw, and placed her gently in her blanket. Then, without waiting, he went straight back to the old man's house. He knocked hard. No answer. He knocked again, this time louder. Finally, the door creaked open. The old man looked tired, smaller. Jamie didn't speak. He just held out the bell. The man stared. And something in his face changed. His eyes locked on it like it was a ghost. "Where? Did you get that?" His voice cracked. Jamie said. "She was under the bell tower, hurt. This was beside her." The old man's hands began to shake. That was hers. My Sarah's cat. We buried the bell after the fire. I thought it was lost. Jamie stepped inside without asking. "You blamed the cat." But maybe it wasn't the cat. Maybe it was just a mistake. The man sat down slowly. His cane slipped from his grip and hit the floor. "I loved her so much," he whispered. "But after she died, I needed something to blame. And the cat was there." He looked up at Jamie. "That kitten. She looked just like the old one. Same eyes, same face." Jamie nodded. "She's not cursed. She's scared. And you scared her more." The old man's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't mean to hurt her. I didn't even look inside the box. I just didn't want to feel anything anymore." He covered his face with both hands. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Jamie had never seen a grown man cry like that. Not even when his own mom left. And in that moment, something shifted. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But something. Jamie placed the bell on the table and quietly walked out. Back at home, Misty was asleep again, her tiny chest rising and falling in peace. Jamie sat beside her, whispering, "You brought him back. Somehow, you did that." The broken bell sat between them now, not as a reminder of pain, but a signal of something trying to heal. And Misty, despite everything, was still here, still surviving, still fighting. Misty was resting again, her paw still bandaged, her eyes calm. The silver bell sat beside her like it had always belonged. Jamie didn't know what would happen next. He wasn't sure if the old man meant his tears. But something had changed. You could feel it in the air. 3 days passed. Quiet. Then one afternoon there was a knock at the door. Jamie opened it. And there he was. The man with the cane. But this time, he wasn't hiding behind silence. He held a small wooden box. And in it, nails, tools, sandpaper. "I was thinking," the old man said softly. "Maybe I could build her something." Jamie stepped aside. Together, in the backyard, they started building. No big words, no long talks. Just a hammer, wood, and quiet. A small shelter. Just for Misty. Raised a little off the ground, lined with soft cloth. Painted pale blue, like her eyes. When it was done, the old man didn't say much. Just placed a tiny bowl of milk inside and stepped back. Jamie said, "She'll come when she's ready." And she did. That evening, Misty limped over, sniffed the shelter, and curled up inside. Not scared, not running. The old man watched from a distance, his eyes soft. "She trusts you," Jamie said. The man replied, "She's learning to trust you too." Word spread through the village, quietly. No one said it out loud, but people noticed the change. A jar of cat treats appeared on the fence. A blanket showed up one morning, folded neatly in a basket. Someone even left a tiny hand-painted sign that read, "Misty's Corner." Jamie didn't know who left what. He didn't ask. He didn't need to. Misty began to walk steadier, her tail longer tucked, her eyes brighter. Some mornings she would sit beside the old man as he drank tea on the porch. Other times, she'd curl against Jamie's chest and fall asleep to his voice. One afternoon, Jamie sat beside the old man. "Do you think the river forgives?" he asked. The old man looked at him. Then at Misty. "I don't know," he said. "But maybe it forgets." Jamie smiled. "I think it remembers. Just chooses to let go." There was no grand moment, no music, just quiet days. And healing. The man who once threw her away now watched over her like she was the last piece of something he'd lost long ago. And Jamie, the boy who found her in a box, now shared her with the world. Together, they gave Misty what she'd never had: safety, not from fear, but from being forgotten. And in the end, Maybe that's what mattered most.